The more I make these videos about DNA test results and American perceptions of race and all this stuff, something that is being reinforced to me is that because America is the melting pot that it is, and because it's got some dark history going on with Native Americans and the way with the slaves were brought over, that it makes us hyper aware of such things. But I was thinking today, as I was reading all these comments, where ultimately keep reinforcing that that's part of why Americans are obsessed with race, as far as, especially how Europe perceives it. I'm trying to imagine a version of America where that wasn't our history. And I think that would change a lot of things for Americans. We'd be less intrigued and obsessed with DNA tests and all this stuff. Had there not already been people living here before we got here, and had we not forced people to come from their continent here. It was never our land, yet we made it our own as a nation founded on largely those European people doing that. And then in the midst of it, it makes sense that there's still, no matter what anybody says, so many people deal with this white guilt. So especially white people who are in America are going to have more of a desire to find out that they're something beyond European. And perhaps that's an American problem. But I want to make this video, this short video, just to acknowledge that for anyone, especially who's European, who can't understand why it seems that we're so obsessed with DNA test and ethnicity to the point that it seems that we're racist because we're talking about it so much, that's probably why. And if you are mainly of European descent, I'll put it this way. I've made videos before about white guilt. Who left comments on them? White people, white Americans, telling me that I shouldn't feel guilty. Who didn't leave comments? People who weren't white. Black people didn't leave comments. Asian people didn't leave comments. No, it was white people telling me that I shouldn't be ashamed of what happened in our nation's history as far as any possible ancestors I had that would have been involved in that. White people were the ones who told me not to feel guilty. No one else spoke. So I make this video to further try to carry on that conversation. If it seems Americans are crazy obsessed and even racist because they're so obsessed with finding out their own race, that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the aftermath of that. And while it's fun to take these DNA tests and find out, I think a lot of people want to feel somewhat pardoned or relieved of what happened to them. Especially, again, imagine I made a video about white guilt and only white people commented. And their comments were mainly the same thing. You have no reason to feel guilty. You shouldn't feel that way. Yet again, people of minorities weren't saying anything. To me, the fact that they didn't say anything reinforces why so many white Americans have this sense of white guilt.